So let me introduce to you Mary Jo Balistreri. Please correct that my pronunciation of that. Um, Jo began her creative life as a pianist and harpsichordist in 2005. In 2005, she began writing free verse poetry after losing her hearing and her ability to play music. She has published 3 collections of poetry: Joy in the Morning, 2008, Gathering the Harvest, 2012, Still, 2018. She also has a chapbook, Best Brothers, 2011. In 2015, Jo registered for a mentoring program through the Haiku Society of America, and there was no turning back. She now dedicates herself to haiku and the study of Japanese poetic forms. She has since been published in many journals and anthologies. In 2019, she was selected for publication in A New Renaissance 12. In June 2023, Jo was featured both on the Haiku Foundation's website, featured New to Haiku Advice for Beginners, and the Ripples in the Sand YouTube podcast conducted by Sanaga Calaraco or Drifting Sands. In September of that same year, she was featured in Jacob Salzer's Haiku Poet Interviews, and for the featured Startled into Flight, Mary Jo Balistreri, the Pan Haiku Review winter issue published by Call of the Page. Last year in 2014, Jo had a Haibun long-listed form, the Haiku Journal, and this year 2 Haibun have been accepted for the 2025 Red Moon Contemporary Haibun. For 3 consecutive years, 2022, 23, and 24, she's had both Haiku and Haibun nominated for a Pushcart Prize. Jo is currently working on a collection of Haibun and Haiku, and you can learn more at her website, which is her name, with poet.com. Here's Mary Jo.
Jo, I think you're muted.
If you click the audio icon down at the bottom left of your screen to unmute. There you are.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Begin again. Thank
Okay.
you.
I was just saying I'm nervous and happy to be here at the same time. And I want to just thank all of you for coming. I find it a great privilege to be part of this haiku community. And then special thanks, of course, to Bruce and Sue. And where's the other one? Gary, there you are. Okay, and also to you, Sue, Antoine. And also special thanks, I mean, to them. I really, really appreciate being here today. And then all of my mentors, past and present, just really couldn't get along without them. So today, I'm reading from a manuscript in process, which would have never, ever begun had it not been for Bruce asking me to read. So I credit all of you for that. It's in process, though. And I've organized it like a musical fugue. I loved playing Bach's preludes and fugues in general. And I chose that form because it's very structured, but it also has amazing flexibility. Now, a fugue is a piece of contrapuntal music, and all that means is multiple voices. A fugue itself usually has 4 voices, and there are 4 parts. My manuscript will have multiple voices, but only 4 parts. So just for today, I'd like you to imagine, as I read through a few poems in each section, I'd like you to imagine the 4 parts you're about to hear like a dinner party. And in the first section I will read, which is the exposition, pretend at this pretend birthday or the dinner party that I'm your host and I'm introducing a subject. And before I do that, I look up the etymology of the word fugue. And it comes from the Italian fuga, which means flight. Then I looked up all the many synonyms, and migration was one of those. And that is very dear to my heart. And I thought, flight and migration, whoa, this is exactly what I want, that human context of moving from one part to another, and all the attendant emotions that go along with that, such as insecurity and longing and uprootedness, all of that. So today when I read, don't expect each section to be literal. Just kind of follow it along as if you were at a real dinner party. So the first part is the exposition, and the subject migration will go in for the entire thing here. Freight train after image, the black caboose, full moon rattling trestle speed. I just wanted you to know my train is fast. Now I will read it properly. Freight train after image, the black caboose, full moon rattling trestles, speed. This season I carry uprooted by a suitcase. This season I carry uprooted by a suitcase. Among the wings of monarchs, I migrate. An apple blossom breeze, longing for something I cannot name. Tree frogs courting pangs in my chest. Tree frogs courting pangs in my chest. Drawing the water shimmer behind them goslings. Drawing the water shimmer behind them goslings. Sea crows darkening mangroves. The last wing. Or sea crows darkening mangroves, the last wing. Misplaced stroke, the skull moving, mountains moving. Misplaced stroke, the skull moving, moving mountains, mountains moving. And I didn't make a distinction. There's monoku here, but there's also regular haiku. But we can always read haiku so many different ways that in a way it doesn't matter, except for you might choose a monoku because of the form. You might want it that way, or all the different cuts. But we can always read these many different ways. Now, part 2 of the fugue is called episodes, and really what it is a development. So you're just going to, at our dinner party, Janice might ask a question and Brad might say, no, I don't see it that way, that kind of thing. Trying to excavate the owl from my father's well of forgetfulness. Trying to excavate the owl from my father's well of forgetfulness. Yellow ribbons fallen on the beach, Gretel's last pebble. Yellow ribbons, pollen on the beach, Gretel's last pebble. At her easel, the sea's changing face. Still trying to get the mountains right. Still trying to get the mountains right. At the pinnacle of her career, cancer. Tangled in a dream, Goldberg's variations, Bach's Goldberg's variation. Tangled in a dream, Bach's Goldberg variations. And then we'll go on to part 3, which is just continued conversation. And this is the way I look at a fugue, by the way. I play with it. It's all about this kind of thing. Maybe things are emerging in this part. Migration changes things, it shifts things, there's discoveries. It might even change the subject, leading to new subjects. So for instance, home would be one of the new subjects in this section, renewal, things emerging. All day, the piece that elides me, plain song. All day, the piece that elides me, plain song. Homesick, a flute's plaintive song, rippling prairie grass. Homesick, a flute's plaintive song, rippling prairie grass. Social distancing. My shadow waves to me from the other bank. Social distancing. My shadow waves to me from the other bank. Sunlight sifts through summer maples, a trail of emerald beetles. Sunlight sifts through summer maples, a trail of emerald beetles. First lilacs spread a blind man's smile. First lilacs spread a blind man's smile. A bumblebee climbs up the ivy. Recovery room. The polished darkness of her piano, touching keys into music. This quiet turning of autumn within. This quiet turning of autumn within. And then the last section I'll read from, which would be the coda, closing up a manuscript, closing up a musical composition. And hopefully you would have a new understanding of migration when this is all completed, I will say, in case you haven't so far. And also, I don't know, a deepening appreciation of it, I think. The peace perhaps that comes with making change, with accepting, that would all be part of this. Orange roses opening the table like a poem. Orange roses opening the table like a poem. Father's whistle and a blade of grass. Father's whistle and a blade of grass. My arm the sky, a blue morpho in the garden. My arm in the sky, a blue morpho in the garden. Sun-filtered cedars, a bench of glacier stone at rest. Sun-filtered cedars, a bench of glacier stone at rest. A fleet of kayaks gliding the blue hour silence. A fleet of kayaks gliding the blue hour silence. Sunset bells slipping light into the sea. Sunset bells slipping light into the sea. And the last poem, moonlight unwraps the dark. Moonlight unwraps the dark. So thank you very much for listening. And I have to say one more thing, which I don't know how I forgot, but Richard, I enjoyed your presentation so much and did not realize you were a Renaissance man. So thank you. And if I see one of your poems, I'll surely write to you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Enjoyed yours too.
thank you.